Today, the topic that we are going to cover is HANA modeling. So before going into this technical, how to create so in HANA modeling, we create calculation views. Okay. So before we going into that calculation view concept, first of all, we need to we need to understand why exactly we need, how, like why HANA modeling we need it and how it is helping in our, developing our data flows. Okay. So, and what is the system, first of all, HANA modeling system. Okay. So this HANA modeling or HANA modeler, okay, and native HANA. So all these comes under same, all are same only, okay, na? So native HANA is nothing but HANA modeling, we can say it, okay. So what is this database? So generally, so far we know what we know what is SAP R3, right? So what is SAP R3? SAP R3 is a place where the day-to-day transactions will happen in the system. Okay, it means all the sales, delivery documents, all will be financial documents, financial transactions, all will be created in SAP R3 system. Okay, so it means when the transaction happens, then what will happen? The records will be generated in the backend database tables. Okay, and we know what is SAP BW also. So what is SAP BW? This is a separate database. Okay, this is a separate database. From here we will bring data from SAP R3, means we will copy the data via data loads from SAP R3 into BW. Means data loads will happen from R3 to BW at nightly or hourly loads happens, and we do reporting on SAP BW. Okay, it means in BW no regular trade, transactional data generated. So data generation doesn't happen on BW, only happens on R3 system. We bring data from R3 to BW for the reporting point of view only. Okay, that is important point. Now, what is HANA modeler? So, HANA, like how we have R3 BW, in the same way, HANA modeling, HANA database. Okay, so we create one separate database called HANA DB. This is also not a component kind. Okay, HANA DB. On HANA DB, HANA modeler will be installed. So HANA modeler is a separate license to be taken when we, brought SAP. Okay, for SAP EC1 license, BW is a separate license, and HANA DB, HANA modeler also a separate license to be taken. And here this will be configured on HANA database only. Okay, and here also we don't no transactional data will be generated on this HANA DB. Okay, on this particular software. This HANA modeler is only for the reporting purpose. How SAP BW is for the reporting purpose, in the same way HANA modeler also was only for the reporting purpose. And we have to fetch data from R3 into HANA database, into separate tables. Or for example, if this HANA modeler was installed on the same, on the same database where the transactional data is there, then we can directly leverage the tables in the R3 system. For example, if a sales transaction happened, then the corresponding records will be stored under VBAK, some VB tables, right? So those tables will be exposed to HANA database. So on those tables, we can create the calculation views. Okay. For example, if this HANA modeler was installed on the BW system, then it means the database will be exposed to HANA modeler. It means all the DSOs, ADSOs which we created, those can be exposed to this modeler. Means we can see it, connections to be established so that we can see the DSOs information also in this particular HANA DB. Then we can create, HANA C calculation views on top of the DSOs also. Okay, so for everything is the configuration. So how to as explained yesterday, we need when we open HANA Studio, we need to go to the perspective. On the perspective, this HANA modeler tool has to be installed, pre-installed, this SAP HANA modeler. So when I click on HANA modeler, it will open on the like this. So on the HANA modeler, we'll take this systems tab. Okay, systems tab. in the systems tab, we need to add the connection. So how to add this HANA database connection? Go to add system, and here you need to provide host name, instance number, and description, and followed by username and password. Then the connection will be created in this way. Okay, same connection can be created multiple times also, no problem. And one more, that's it. So when it is connected, so if you double click on this HDB, if it was connected, it will always, if the database was connected with server, it will show this green color. If it is not connected, then it will show in a dull color here. Okay, now when I double click on this HDB, then it will show the entire the HANA database information. So if you see SAP HANA user memory, recent memory, and other many options, disk usage, all options we can see. Okay, where how I can see this information when I double click on this HDB. Okay, so this is not so important as of now. So under this HANA database, now we have 4 different folders are there: catalog, provisioning, content, security. Okay, so because in BW we do reporting. So when we do reporting, we do security also, right? It means not every person can open all the reports in the system. So we need to provide some privileges to the users. Okay, security roles to the user. So in HANA model is also for reporting. So not every person in the who have access to this HANA DB cannot able to use all the reports what we created in this calculation views. So we need to provide security. So to provide such kind of securities, we use the security folder. Here we create roles and we assign those to users. This part anyway we are not covering in this session, but this particular section we do such kind of activity. Okay, so the next one is, these three are important, and as I said, we here provisioning is the next one. So in provisioning in BW system we have data sources, right? Source systems tab, right? In the same way in HANA modeler we have this provisional folder. Okay, in the provisioning we can see all the connections that are established to this HANA database. It means from these connections, I can bring information into my HANA database to do my modeling. Okay, to do my modeling. And then, so this is provisioning tab. And the next one is catalog. So what is catalog? In the catalog, these are called schemas. Okay, what we called schemas. So for example, if you have access to this HANA database, then it means like the basis team will create a user ID for you in the HANA database. If you have a user ID in the database, then each user have its own schema created here. Okay, for example, how many schemas are there? It means those many user IDs definitely will be there, and apart from that you can create your own schema also. Okay, not only users, but also you can create your own schema. Like for each project they can create their own schema and put their content in that schema. Okay, schema level authorizations also can be provided. And then the last one is content tab. So content tab is nothing but here we will create packages. Okay, in HANA modeler basically we create what calculation views, right? All the calculation views can be created under these packages. So these packages you can consider it is like a info area for in our BW. How we create info area to create our own models, in the same way you have to create your own project specific packages. In the packages you need to create your calculation views. So simply package can be considered as a info area in BW. Okay, but schemas also kind of info area only, but here every user can contains one individual schema, so that you can do all your developments, own developments, test developments on your schema, and there will be authorization applied on each schema. So you cannot go simply into whatever schema you want and create your objects, because until unless you have access to that schema. Okay, that is an important point to be remember here. So the current user which I logged in is HANA user. So there is definitely there is one particular right click on catalog. Here go to filter, provide give HANA user. You see there is a schema named HANA user, because the user which I logged in is named HANA user. We can see that. Okay, So next one is in the schema. So till now we know this is a schema. So what is there within the schema? Within the schema we have column views, functions, procedures, tables, views. Okay, it means for example HANA database. What we can do in the HANA database, we can create tables, we can do data, we can copy data from, we can insert data into those tables, and we can prepare calculation views on those tables. Okay, so if you want to create any table in the HANA modeler, then you need to create with this table under schema only. Okay, under your whatever schema you want. So means you where which one you project relevant schema or your own schema. For example, if I want to create my own table, then I will go to my schema first of all, which is the user schema, and I can create that table under this one. Okay, so next, views means I will explain about views. So what is view? A view is nothing but it will fetch data at runtime. Okay, table store physically, and views doesn't store physically. It will fetch data from the underlying tables when we execute when we run the view. Okay, when we run select on the view. It is like that. So procedures and functions we will cover in coming days on this one. So what we are going to learn is table creation, views creation. We can see procedures, functions. We will learn in this one. So we can create indexes also on the tables. So indexes are mainly created for the performance point of view. Okay, for example, if we go to package, so we see what we can do under schema. Now let's see what we can create under package. So if I right click on package and go to new option, see under package I can create attribute view, analytical view, calculation view, analytical privileges, procedures, a decision table. So these can be created under package. Okay, so totally these are the only objects that we can create in HANA modeler. Okay. So far we covered like this, and next part. Mm. So what next? Mm. So what next is so now I will show you how to create a table in SAP HANA Modeler. Mm. So HANA, before creating table, first of all we need to prepare one sample data, right? So let's prepare one sample data, and then so just like earlier yesterday, sales document and date. Yeah, Calde. Let's take Calde like this. Material, material, quantity, unit. Okay. Sales document 1001. Calendar day 2021 0101. Material M1. Just a second. Material. This today I am going to insert one more extra column called material group. Okay. MATGRP material group also. Okay. Let's consider this as a MG1, quantity 100, and the unit PC. Okay, so 1002 2021 0101, and material M2, which falls in the same group, and let's say 150 PC. Okay, 1003 2021 0101. Let's take M3 material, which falls in a different group, 100 pieces. So I'm not writing price here. Let's say price later point 21 0101 M4 MG1 and 250 pieces. 1005 2021 0201 M1 material group 1 2 pieces. Let's keep it like this. Okay. Mm. I want one more record. 1006 2021 0201 M3 material group 3 600 pieces. Okay, now let's keep it this way. Okay, data. So this is my data. Now I am going to store this data as a CSV file only as usual. So I always prefer CSV file instead of Excel file because which gives more proper kind of data. Daily class node, think fast track here, sales file for I'm going to store it as a CSV comma delimited file. Say yes, then close it. Okay, so if I want to create a table and upload data into it in HANA Modeler, I can do it in two ways. Okay, so first way is go to file, import. We have one option called import here. Okay, so I'm going to import here. What I'm going to do, I'm going to select here we go to like a general import. So see SAP, see under the folder SAP HANA content, we have a option called data from local file. Okay, so this particular option we are going to use data from local file. Click on next. It means we are going to load data from and import means bringing data into system, and from where I am bringing the system, I am bringing the data from my local file within my system, and so which system I am going to load into my HDB system. So if it is a real-time system, then you may have a development system, test system, production, like that, right? So if you have multiple connections to different systems, then you need to select whichever system you want here. So I selected this HDB and then click on next. So now, so where exactly you want to create table? So now what I am doing is my table and data into it. Okay, but did the table already created in the system? Not yet. Correct. So I am going to create the table by loading the data itself. Okay, na? By using the test file, because in the file will provide us me how many columns I need, all the information it will provide. That's why I'm creating it. So where exactly I am going to create a table can be created only under schema. So here I need to select which schema I'm going to use here. I'm going to use HANA user schema. So I need to search for this HANA user. So this is a sorting order. So already these are in sorting order. So just let me search for this HANA user. This is my HANA user schema, and I'm going to create new table. So since I'm going to create new table, I selected this one. If I am already using the existing table, then I need to select this one. I will show this one also by loading the delta information into it. Okay, so the table name which I'm going to give is now let's like JA underscore sales. Okay, this is my table name. Okay, and this particular file contains header row, right? So yes, I have a header row and header rows 1. Import all data. Yes, I want to import data from second line till end of the line. That's why I'm not giving anything. I need to browse my file. So go to select here, go to documents, fast track, sales file for HANA. Select open. So I selected my under file encoding. It is a comma delimited file. So already file field delimited comma came here, and I given the schema name, I given the table name, and then I'm clicking on next. Okay, so when I click on next, so how we see it in the data source creation, system will take automatically fields from the file. In the same way here also it is taking all the fields from the file by seeing the comma separator. So almost we have these many fields in my file, and it is going to create these many columns in my table. So sales document, cal day, material group, like this. And based upon the data what we have in the file, system proposes these are the data types I can give to the each column. But I don't want these data types. I want my own data type, so I can change it. So sales document, I want to give it as a varchar. Where it is, yeah, varchar, and I want to give the length as 10. Okay, so system will propose initially. Later you need to change on your own. So cal day also I need to change this into date format, date. and the material is envarker or envarker, anything is fine. Here it is 18. Okay, and the material group also envarker, I can give it as a 4. And then small quantity, it's not actually, I can give as an integer or decimal. Let me give it as a decimal. When it is decimal, I need to check how many decimals also, 17, and decimal places are 2. Here, if you need to understand here, this is length, this is scaling is 3. This is a 17 comma 3 na. Let's take as integer or decimal, it is fine, anything is fine. And unit is, if for unit, we have a separate data type called unit, I think. Let me check that one. Low, real, low, small. Okay, varchar only, I think. And yeah, and varchar only, I think. For unit, I need to give 3. Okay, so these are the, I changed my data types and length according to my usage. Okay, and since it is a table, I'm going to create table. So when I'm creating a table, I need to specify which is the key in this table. So sales document is my key in this table. I need to mention that too by 100%. So next is, this is the how the data in our sample file. On the bottom we can see it, and I'm clicking on next. Okay, so after this table creation, now the data will be loaded in this way. Okay, I'm okay, so I'm clicking on finish. So now if you see somewhere the job is running, you see import flat file. You see under the job log, I can see import flat file submitted at what date and time, and status. Is it completed successfully, or do we have any errors in it? I can see it clearly. So currently it was completed successfully. It means the table was created successfully. So now I need to search my table. Okay, so in this particular many tables I need to search mine, but it is very difficult, right? So I will go to tables, right click on it. I will apply some filter. Okay, all my developments will start with JA. So I am giving JA and then click on OK. So JA acts as a filter in my as a field. No need to give star here. Stars will be given automatically by the system. So with JA, it will search all the tables. Now I can see it is not, yeah, JA sales is there. So table already created. Okay. Now if I double click on this table, then I can see the definition of this table. So how it was created. And if I want to see the data in this table, right click here, open, open content. Okay, if I click on open content, then I can see, you see the data was loaded successfully into my table, and I got 6 records here. Okay, and this is open content. We have multiple options to see data here. Okay, so open content is one option. If you click on open content, then SAP is generating one statement called SAP select top 1000. It means if your table is having 10,000 records, still on open content will show only 1000 records from your table. Okay, and if you want to see all data from your table, then we have one more option called open data preview. Okay, we need to learn how these are different options we can use in the system. Okay, now which option I selected? Open data preview. Okay, so what is this open data preview? In the open data preview, SAP is providing different options for me to explore the data in this table. Okay, so you see we are on the raw data, which means each column like table format only we can see the data. Apart from this raw data, we have some other options called distinct values and analysis. These two are two extra tabs. So what was the difference between raw data, distinct values, and analysis? Okay, so let's go to first analysis. Okay, in the analysis, how we have our Bex query designer, in the same way here you can explore your data in that format. For example, let me bring material into my rows, label access, quantity into my values. You see, automatically as per my dimensions which I draw here, the chart is showing because it is currently I'm in chart option. If you go to table option, then these will be shown in a table, and data is aggregated accordingly. You see 250, 150, 700 data is aggregated to material level. Okay, if I want to see in grid format, I can see this way. If I want to see in HTML format, I can see. So SAP is providing different options to explore our data, and you can change it, see it in chart format, and you can change the chart formats here. Many analysis you can do here. Okay, and what is distinct values? So distinct values means now I want to see what are the unique materials I have in my data set. So click on material. So in material, I have 4 unique values, M1, M3, M4, M2. Okay, na? With M1, I have 2 records in my database. With M3, I have 2 records in the database. With M4, 1, M2, 1. So it is giving what are the unique values in this particular column. At the same time, how many records are there with this unique value. That information also it is providing here. So for example, unit, I have only one record with one unique value PC, and I have 6 records. I have 6 different distinct sales document numbers. Okay, so like this it will give. So distinct values always give information about the distinct values that are available at each column level. You can see it what each column level, individual column level only. On analysis will give you more information on how your data is like and everything. And the raw data will give you the data in a simple table format. So in this table format, still there are something we have to learn. What else we have here? Here, see on the right side, top corner, you have max rows. Okay. For example, in the max rows, if I given 2 and click on this refresh, then I will get only 2 rows from my table. Okay. So here we can give max till 5,000 only. Okay, you cannot see data more than 5,000. For example, here I am giving 5,001, then system will say, you see it is not accepting it all, one also. So remember, only 5,000 rows we can see from this data preview. Okay, and here this particular by changing this term number, you can restrict your data set to some 3. If I given 3 here, if I given 3 here, I can fetch 3 only. Okay, so this is one thing. And the next thing is filter. So if you want to apply filter here, just give. So if you want to apply some filters on your data preview, because only 5,000 you can see, right? So your table may having 1,000 records. So you have only leverage to see 5,000 records. So you are applying filter on something to see all data for that selection. Okay. If you want to apply any filter on the table, so how you can apply filter? By using this add filter option, you can apply filter. So this is all analysis purpose. Okay. This is not reporting. Okay, for a technical user to work to while doing any data, what we can say, data validations, okay, analysis, these options will be helpful to you. Okay, users won't come to the database to see all these things. Users always work on the reporting level only. Okay, and this HANA database is such a kind of it is very easy tool which can any non-fun technical user also can easily build the developments here. Yesterday we learned ADS was field based, right? In the same way, this is also how SAP ADS was field based can be created by non-technical people in an easy way. In the same way, any non-technical person can create the HANA models. Okay, means at least he should have some knowledge. He can create it easily. Okay, no much technical knowledge required to create simple HANA models. For complex, definitely technical expertise is mandatory. Okay, now coming back to our filter section. Now I want to filter data on material group MG1. Okay, so I am going to add filter. I'm selecting material group field. So when I select material group field, you see on the right side I got some box like this. Now here I need to select which one. So I'm going to bring MG1 to my right hand side. Means I'm applying MG1 filter. See, by giving it the filter not applying on my table. After giving this one, I need to click on execute here. Okay, then this filter will be applied on my table. This is important. Remember this one. So this is equal to, for example, multiple material groups I want to filter, then system is providing that option too. So in list, go to in list, and then now you can select multiple also, MG1 and MG3 you want to see. Click on OK. After giving the filter, always you remember you need to click on execute in order to apply that filter. Now I can see MG1 and MG3 on my screen. Okay, this you can add multiple filters also. For example, now I want to bring only materials M1 here. Execute. You see, only M1 material got filtered here. Okay, and if you want to remove filter later, just cancel these things and click on execute. Again, the data will come as it is. Okay, so this is how to, you know, if you add filter, and after applying filter, how to execute it. So after at the end, let me apply one more time filter on MG1 because I want to show you one thing. So okay, so how when you give filter on MG1, so what exactly system is? System is writing a select statement. This is not we are not, you know, inserting data into database. We are doing analysis on the existing database. In order to fetch data from the database, system has to write the select statement on the database, on the table. Okay, if you want to see how system is generating the select statements on the database, you can go to this show log. Okay, go to show log. Now you see these are all the different, you know, select statements SAP written, and the latest one is this one. So double click on it. You see this is the select statement which SAP generated when you performing some action on the graphical user interface. Okay, so it is selecting top 100 because max rows is 100, top 100 you know, columns from the table J cells where material group is MG1 because we applied filter on MG1. Okay, so you can copy it like this. You can save it to your notepad. Okay, so we come to this topic later, but by going to show log, you can see what was the generated SQL on the database. Okay, that's all we need to learn about this table creation and how to, what are the different options we have while analyzing the data in the table. Okay, I covered most of the options. Okay, if you want to save the data set, then that is also possible. Generally, we save data from DSO into Excel sheets, right? In the same way, if you want to save this data into any Excel sheet or you know, Excel file, you have that option. Delimited text file, XML file, HTML file, you can save into your local desktop. That's it. That's all about the creation of a table. Now, next part is now we want to load some delta information into the existing table. So till now, what we learned is how to create a new table by importing data into the database. And now next thing is how to load data into the existing, you know, delta file. Okay, so we can do the same way. So first, before doing that, we need to create a delta file first. So let me go to here and create delta file.
Yeah, Srinivas, I have a doubt here. I have.
Yes, yes, let me tell me.
Do I need to follow any naming convention while creating tables? Like usually for custom
Uh,
created, it follows that.
yes. As per your project based. Yeah, better always follow naming convention. If everyone giving their own names, it is not at all good in the real time projects. Okay, so your project definitely may have some naming convention document. Accordingly, you need to create it. Okay, so on the area, sales area where you are creating table and all. So if you create those, you know, with the naming convention, then privileges also can be applied accordingly.
I should
Okay,
start with Z like that only, right? Do you have
sorry.
any BI
Hmm.
content tables will be available here in HANA Studio?
BI content table means, you see, this is not a transactional system. So here, based upon the database, where how to say this one, um,
Right,
content
that we
tables.
are writing data to the entire table.
Sorry, come again. Repeat the
Here we are
question.
like that. Here we are directly writing data to the table. Huh?
Ah, yes. Mm.
As you said, for sales it will be VB tables, right?
Sure.
So
These are not content tables, so we should not call as content table. Those are transactional data tables and standard tables. So those, if that R3 system was exposed to this database, then you can find those tables directly here. Okay, under that particular schemas. So that system also connection has to be there. Let me check here. You know, those tables, how to access it. Um, 1 minute. If I go to provisioning tool and I go to remote access, and here if I go to ACC connection, for example, ECC 1, 7, 9. You see, these are all different schemas. Okay. These are system schemas, and in these schemas you may find those system sysbic is one of the standard schema where we can find all tables. Okay, we will come to this topic, okay, na? When we creating calculation views, I will show you these things, okay? There we can search easily the tables information.
Okay.
So let me complete this topic, okay, now of delta 1, then we come to this topic. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create my delta file. So right click here, open with Notepad. So I want to create a delta file here. So I'm giving here a 7, 8, 9. 3 records I will create as a delta. And these transactions happened on 0, 3rd month. That's it. Okay. So this is my delta file. So now I want to upload this delta information into my HANA table. So how can I load it? In the same way how I created earlier, the same process I can go to file, import, deliver data from a local file, click on next, select the database where you want to load, click on next, and select the browse the file what you want to load, open, comma delimited, header file exists from to all. And now from Excel also I can load data. If it is Excel, then you need to select which worksheet you want to load. Okay. Now here the target table. Now this time I'm not going to create a new table, but I want to create load data into existing table. So when it is an existing case, I need to select the table from my browse folder. So here HANA user, under tables, under JSS. Okay, select this table. Now click on next. So system will show all the fields from table from here to here. Now we need to map from here to here, from source, like which is from my flat file, CSV file, into my table. I need to map the data. So I need to map column to column. Either you can do this one, mapping manually, or you can use this option, mapping menu, map by name or one to one. One to one means first column to first column, second column to second column. Map by names means based upon the technical names it will map. So I will do map by name. So mapping is generated automatically. So data will be loaded in this format. Okay. Now click on next and then click on. So you see data from file, data from existing table. So it will append the data. Okay. So data was you see it was completed successfully. Now if I refresh here, now I can see the latest information also, okay, which is from March month. So data was successfully loaded into the table.
So a small doubt here.
Yes.
See, same standard fields are there. If I want to add additional field from Delta table, how to map it?
So see additional field not from delta table. Delta information is different. Your requirement of adding additional field is different. Okay. So if
Okay,
you want to add new field to the table, then you need to write some SQL statement to create a new column here.
okay.
Okay, we need to create write some
Same
alter command we need to write.
same table Delta. Now I have seen. If I want to add another additional field, then it is a different concept, right?
Yeah, it's a different concept. Yes. So your
Okay.
requirement is enhancing the table with a new column. That is a
Yeah.
different requirement, and adding delta records to that existing table is a different requirement. Both are
Okay.
two different requirements.
That we will
Okay.
discuss later on, right?
Yes. When we discuss about SQL statements, at that time I will teach you the alter statement also. Hmm?
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. So this is now till now what we learned is how to create table and how to update, uh, delta records into the existing table we learned, right? So this is one means the table creation, how it is happened at the time of loading data, by using the import data means loading data from file directly we created the table. Okay. Now we can create the table in another way also. Okay. So what is the other way? So creating the table manually. So go to table section, right click, new table. Okay, go to new or new table or some anything you can. Go to new table. So you see, this is completely graphical user interface. So earlier you are creating table, via, system helper. Now you are going to create everything on your own. So JA underscore delivery. Okay. And schema is HANA user, type is column store. Now here you need to provide the column information. Delivery is the first column name, and the data type is, and varchar or varchar. The length is 10. And if you want to add second column, go here, cal day, data type is dates, date, go here. When we give date, automatically it will take the length and all. So here I need to take reference doc. Then material, marker 18. So if I want to take quantity, it's F type decimal 17, comma 3 for decimals, and unit 3. Okay, like this, I can add a number of columns as per my requirement. Okay, and if you want to add, comments to the columns also, you can add it here. And I need to define which is key. So this delivery is the key here, and then column store. Now how to create it? By clicking on this execute button, you are going to create your table. You see, statement create column table HANA successfully executed, affected rows 0. It means table was created successfully. So now if I come to tables tab, refresh this particular folder, then I can see my table J underscore delivery. Okay, table created. So this is the other way of creating table apart from loading data. So now I can load data into this table from my file. Go to this one, open with Excel. Okay, so here what I did, I created one new column called delivery. Okay, and let me put everything same. I don't want to disturb this 1000, 5002. I'm adding delivery numbers here. So first column is delivery. Better to have my file also on the same format how my table is. If we both are having in the same structure, same format, means sequence, column sequence, it will be more easy for me in doing the mapping part. So that's why I'm doing like this way. So delivery cal day sales document, it is a reference document, and then material. I don't have material group now. Delete quantity unit. Okay, let's remove this one particular one. Remaining all, let's keep it. Then file, save as, delivery, file for save. So I created the table. Now I want to load data. So while loading data, it is same. So go to file, import. Okay, data from local file, click on next, select the database, select here, browse for the file, delivery file, open, header row exists, existing table, go here, HANA user, tables, delivery table, click on OK, click on next. Since I did everything like this now, either I can use a map by name. If I select map by name, this particular technical name, the technical name in my table, both are not matching. That's why it is not taking this mapping. I can do one-to-one mapping. If I go one by one, one to one, then it will take column to column. Click on next, click on finish. You see job created, successfully completed. Now I want to see data from here, right click, open content or open data preview, anything I can do. So data load successfully. So this is the second way of creating table and loading data into it. Okay. So far what we learned is creating tables and how to load data in a HANA database view. So you see, always remember, try to load it from CSV file instead of Excel file, which gives more, perfectness, and date format, you need to be very careful while loading data, because based upon the separators and all, sometimes we may face a little bit difficulty while doing data loads. So that is one part. So next part is, now we are going to the calculation view concept. So after learning tables, our next target is to go to learning about calculation view. Okay. To learn calculation view, so what we do is we will create a new package for us. Okay. To have all our developments under one package. So the package name is J underscore extract. Okay. So delivery unit and all, a package, how we have package concept in BW, in the same way in HANA modeling having delivery unit concept. I don't want to give anything right now here. So I created this one. Now I will do filter. So with J. So many packages are right. That's why it is taking time. And just give me 1 minute. I will take some water. 1 minute. Okay, back. So where is our package? J underscore fast stack. So under this, we don't have anything. So now we are going to create a calculation views. So before going into that creation of calculation views, we need some concept also, right? What is a calculation view? What are the different types are there? So that we need to discuss. Under package, we can create another package. How we can create an info area under another info area? In the same way, we can create package, a new package also under the existing package. Now coming to the calculation views. Okay, let's take some little bit concept of this one, and then we go for a creation of it. Calculation views. Okay, when this HANA modeler comes into picture, SAP brought three type of calculation views: analytical view, attribute view. Yeah, attribute view, analytical view, analytical view, and calculation view. So these are the three different calculation views SAP designed when it brought this software into picture. The same you can see here: attribute view, analytical view, calculation view. Okay, so why we SAP designed three different objects? So analytical view is nothing but our for the master data purpose. Okay, for example, if we take material master data, since you people know already BW, so I am giving BW as a reference here. Okay, because this is also a reporting tool like BW. So to satisfy that concept, SAP brought this attribute view concept. Okay, attribute view is mainly used for the master data loading. Okay, there are no key figures. How in a material master data you don't have any key figure concept at all. Everything is an attribute to the material in master data. In the same way, such kind of data, if you want to create, do reporting on such kind of data, they created this attribute calculation view. Okay, analytical calculation view is created like a cube concept. So we have a star schema concept, right? So to satisfy that star schema concept, SAP brought this analytical view into picture. Okay, and this calculation view is like it is top of these two. So here you can do anything. It means you can use attribute view and you can consume the existing attribute view, existing analytical view in the calculation view, and you can do whatever you want on the calculation view without any restrictions. Okay, so in the attribute view you don't have any key figure concept at all. Everything is a characteristic in the attribute view. In analytical view, only one table, it's a star schema. So star schema is what? A fact table surrounded by master data tables. It means only one table can contains one key figure. Remaining all will be dimension tables. Okay, and in calculation view, so it is a top of everything. Like we can have n number of tables we can use here, and we can bring key figures from any table. Okay, this was the initial concept brought by SAP. So later what they did is they merged all these three into single component called calculation view. So SAP saying so deprecated. That's why the people will call it as a attribute view, analytical view are deprecated. So don't create any more attribute analytical views separately. Create only calculation views. So it means deprecated means concept by gone. No, concept not gone. Okay. How they merged DSO and cube into ADSO in the same way. Now SAP merged these two concepts into calculation view itself. Okay. It means while creating a calculation view, you can decide this calculation view do act as a attribute view or a analytical view or a regular calculation view. So you can decide while creating this calculation view. So how we will decide while creating ADSO, it should be act as a DSO or a cube. Na? In the same way, while designing this calculation view, we can have a leverage to select to define the type of this calculation view. Okay, so that is the little bit concept about the calculation view. So why we use calculation view? Calculation view. So at the end, I'm calling it as a view. It means it does not store any data physically. Okay, this is just only at runtime object which fetch data from the base tables. So if you want to create a calculation view, then first I want to know from which tables I have to fetch data. Okay, so for reporting purpose. So mainly this is for reporting purpose. Like our multi-provider, composite provider, we have a calculation view in HANA Studio. So we can closely relate BW system to this HANA system, native HANA system to, because site satisfying the reporting requirements. Okay. So this is just like our composite provider and multi-provider, but having more flexibility in creating the design. Okay, so view means it is fetching data from the base tables. So base tables are what? We can use the R3 tables as a base table, or we can use our DSOs also as a base table. Okay, so that's it. Next point is let's go to the system and create a calculation view, and we can done what we can do in the within the calculation view, whatever perform we can perform. Okay, so go to the info, go to the package, right click here, go to new. In the new, now I am going to create a calculation view. So click on calculation view. So this is the calculation view creation. So I need to give one name. So generally when we creating a calculation view, we follow naming convention CV underscore followed by sales area. So this project specific naming conventions will be followed here. So CVJA, let's take our own naming convention, and then sales. Let's take a sales. Okay. So if I click on tab, same technical name will be copied to the label. By system is given a option. When we creating DSOs info objects, always we use it to provide technical name followed by description. Correct. But in HANA Modeler now SAP advanced a bit, and always it is copying a technical name as a label also. But if you want to change it, you can change it. Okay. Calculation view for sales. Anything you can write here on the label part. Okay. So then is next one is unique calculation view type. So this is the type, graphical type. And okay, beginning to create a complex kind of calculation views. SAP brought another one into picture, that is called scripted calculation view. Scripted, it means actually calculation view is nothing but graphical user interface where we do drag and drop of tables and do joins and all. But SAP brought another way called scripted, means in this particular calculation view you have to write SQL statements on your own to generate the data. Okay, that concept is scripted calculation view. So this are also deprecated now, we are not going to use this anymore. And this concept was replaced with another concept which we will discuss in coming maybe tomorrow, not today. Okay, so I will tell this tomorrow. So now coming to the calculation view creation. So after giving the technical name description here, if I go to the data category, you see here it is given data category. In the data category, it is giving cube and dimension, and there is one checkbox with star join. Now you have to understand, I told you, right? Now SAP brought only one calculation view picture, and it is having a leverage to convert this calculation view either into an analytical view or attribute view, correct? So using these three options, like a data category option and with this with the star join concept, we can create the other two deprecated calculation views. So how it is? So let's see this one. Let me take one Excel to tell this. So data category, data category, and this star join checkbox. Okay. So for example, if the data category is dimension, okay, if the data category here is dimension, you see automatically star join checkbox got disabled. If you set the data category as dimension, the default node is projection. So this is also important. Okay, later we see what is it. If I kept data category as dimension, then my calculation view will act as a attribute view. Okay, so if attribute view is deprecated, it means we are not supposed to forget about the concept. It is still there. Okay, if my data category in my calculation view is dimension, then this calculation view acts as an attribute view. Okay, if my data category is cube, and if I enable star join checkbox, then it acts as an analytical view. Analytical view. Okay, if my data category is only cube without any star join checkbox, then it is a calculation view. Okay, so like this I am covering three concepts in one calculation view. Okay, based upon the selections I am giving here, I can make it. You see, if you set the data category as cube, the default node is aggregation. You can change the default node to star join by selecting the checkbox. So if I select the checkbox, then it is it is of type of analytical view. If I select cube, then it is normal view. So first what we do is let's go to create. First learn about calculation view, then later we learn about the analytical and attribute views. Okay, na? So for concepts in the calculation view. So that's why I'm giving cube type here and then clicking on finish button. So I clicked on finish button. Now this is the screen which I am getting initially. So here what sections I can see here when I create this on the left hand side. This is like what we call it as nodes. Different nodes I can use in my calculation view. This is the design area, and this is the details information. Okay, and it is telling, right, when I'm clear selecting cube, it is saying by default the top node is aggregation. So that is this one. It is talking about this one. If it is an attribute view, it will projection will come. If it is a with star join, some other will come here. I forgot that. Okay. Now I have how many sections are there? 4 sections are there. One is different nodes, diagram area, means design area, and detail section, and I have one output section. Okay, so all sections have their own priority, own importance. So now let's create one simple calculation view. To understand how to create a calculation view, Then we will go topic by topic to learn more concepts. Okay. Now I want to fetch data from my sales data. So currently, if user wants to see data from sales data, so I need to create a calculation view on my sales table. So where is my sales table? If I go to my schemas, under my schema, I have my sales table. So this is my sales table. So your requirement is very simple. Create a calculation view on the sales table to display this data to the user. Okay, for the reporting purpose. Now what I can do, I create a calculation view like this. I can do drag and drop of this. Sorry. First one is you need to create a projection here. Okay, in order to bring data from any table or from anywhere, the first step is you need to create a projection. Under projection, you need to bring your source. Okay, so calculation view means we are doing reporting on a database table. Okay, data will be fetched at runtime. In order to bring any information into your calculation view, the first step you need to do is take the projection, and in the projection add whatever you want. So I want data from GSS. So take projection first, like drag and drop from the node section to here, and then drag and drop this GSLs into your projection. Okay, and one projection can hold only one table or one view or one calculation view, because a calculation view can be used in another calculation view. So but projection node can only holds only one object. Okay, so by giving this JSLs, it is done. So now I click on projection one. Now I can see all the fields that are coming from my JSLs table. You see, it is telling HANA user JSLs. It is coming from HANA user schema, and the table name is JSLs. You can see that definition on the top of this projection. Okay. So now these are the different columns in your table. Do you want data of all columns, or you want only few columns information? You can have an option to select it. Currently, you see on the right hand side, the output tab is completely empty here. Column section, nothing is there. Calculate columns, input, nothing you can see here, right? When I enable the sales stock, you see whichever columns I added, those columns are turning into yellow color, and those are adding at the same time to my output. Okay, by default, system don't consider any columns from my table. I need to decide which columns I want it for my calculation view. If you want all columns for calculation view, then what you can do, right click here, add all to output. Okay, but when I say add all to output, you see the existing sales document already added, which we added manually by me. Again, it was added with a new name called sales doc underscore one. It's now a duplicate record. Okay, because as a functionality, SAP tried to add all columns again one more time. So that's the reason duplicate record came. If you don't want this, right click here, remove. Okay, for example, if you want to delete again all one more time, select all, right click, remove. Whenever you remove, automatically you see the symbol again turn back to dull color. So which are using in my output, those only will show here yellow colors. Right click, add all to output. For example, from this, I don't want to see sales document number. Right click here, remove. So if I remove it, then you see that color of the icon got changed again to dull color. By seeing the projection, you can see whichever columns are there in my output, which are not there, by seeing the color of this dot. Okay, that's what you have to learn here. So now I am taking this information from my projection node. Now I want to do reporting on only this data. So in order to bring this data from here to the upper node, this is one node, projection node, we call it as a projection node, and this is aggregation node. Okay, because node. So now I have to map this arrow mark from here to here. Anywhere on this particular box, you can put your cursor anywhere, it will do automatic mapping. Okay, so you see mapped. So when mapped, what happened? Now all the columns from here are now mapped to aggregation node. Now you see on the aggregation node, you can see data coming from projection underscore one. This is the name of the node here coming, and only these columns only these columns I mapped for the further layers. That's why you can see only those. Sales document is no more. Now right click here, add all to output. That's it. Now this is the top node. On top of only we have semantics node. On the semantics node, you see this is the semantic. When you click on semantic, then this is the final output structure what you see. Okay, so this is the final output structure. We have only these fields. Now, here one important point is type. Till this point, it is just only mapping from source to target position. Once you brought data to the top node, on the semantic node, you have one extra job. What is that job? You need to identify the type of each column, whether is it a characteristic or a key figure. Okay, because while doing reporting, key figures comes into columns and characteristic comes into rows, right? So at least to differentiate between a characteristic and key figure, we need to define the type of each field. So calde is of type attribute, okay, and measure is and quantity is of type measure. So right. So we need to define this differentiation for all the columns in my calculation view. But doing it so will take a lot of time, right? So I can do it simply auto assign. You see, there is an icon called on the icons, last icon here, auto assign. If I click here, uh, based upon the data type of each column, system will do automatic assignment of this property. Okay, unit is also a dimension, so characteristic. So only quantity is the one. So wherever we have key figures, automatic the aggregation is also very important. The summation is my aggregation. If you want, you can change that aggregation property. Okay. Now done. Now the design of the calculation is done. If you want to see your design in a proper format, now you can click on this auto layout. Then it will redesign your layout in a neatly, okay, in a formatted way. Now the final step is activating the calculation view. So on the top you can find the activation button, save and activate. Now click on this one. It will be CC complete, job completed. What is this job? Activation job completed successfully. Okay, so always after doing this, it's your responsibility to check the status of the job. If we have any error, if it is failed, then we can see errors also if anything is there. So now calculation view design completed, all are good so far. Now you want to see the output of this calculation view. How to see output? By going to this data preview, you can see the output of the calculation view. See, this data preview button is similar to our table data preview. Okay, so same functionalities here and there also. So generally, I will go to table format and my output, and here raw. So generally go to raw data. If you go to raw data, insufficient privileges. You see, system is not able to fetch data from my table because I don't have insufficient privileges here. So what exactly wrong happened here is in the semantic layer under view properties section, we have some privileges by default applied on each calculation view. So we need to remove those privileges. You see, apply privileges, SQL analytical, make it as blank here, and then reactivate this calculation view and close the data preview once and go for data preview one more time. Now go to raw data. See, now I can see the data. Now I can see the data of cal day, material group, and everything. Clear? So this is how we can create a calculation view. So creating calculation view is very simple. You see, any non-technical person also simply can drag this projection and bring the table name, and he can select if they know whichever columns they need it, and they can simply add to the aggregation and do the calculation views. So this HANA modeler is mainly created for the non-technical users for easy reporting purpose. It won't take much time for the creation when the design is when the design is doesn't contain any complexities. We can create complex calculation views also, which contains around 30 to 20 to 30 nodes also. We will create in calculation view in real time based upon our requirement. Okay, any questions so far?
No, Sirwas. Actually, HANA database is very important, right? As a BW consultant now.
Yes. Now, because HANA data, yeah, learning HANA, native HANA is very important for the upcoming BW consultants because say now we are migrating to B4 HANA, right? There where we do the mixed modeling scenarios. Even on BW HANA also, every all the people are coming with mixed modeling scenarios. Every client is taking HANA modeler access also, so they can leverage BW objects also here and HANA objects also here. They can easily create it. And this is
Yeah.
one more important point is the part which we are creating on by using ABAP code. Those can be easily done with a graphical user interface by doing joins and all. And by doing this also, we can save some layers in the BW while data load logic and all. Okay, so many
Great.
options, so many usefulness is there, so much usefulness is there for with HANA modeler. So that's why everyone should must learn HANA modeler too. That's why I will suggest to my students definitely to learn HANA native HANA also along with BW. So learning BW on HANA, native HANA, and ABAP. These three are very core concepts for all the upcoming BW consultants. Okay.
Great.
Nowadays, interviews are also they're asking ABAP definitely with HANA modeler. Hmm. If you
See,
know HANA modeler, then later you can easily learn S4 HANA also. Later point. Yeah.
yeah, Srinivas, actually here a better thing is you please let us know in
Hmm.
detail about the background of the native HANA, B4 HANA, S4 HANA, everything for
Hmm.
future. How we need to have clarity on background because
Okay.
uh,
Okay.
we are going with the flow, which we don't have proper knowledge on that. We are not
Okay.
expertise. So
Okay.
honestly speaking, if you ask us what you understood, like
Hmm.
we are really trusting you and we are going with your flow. If you give us
Okay.
no background,